So if you've been playing this game for a while, you've been watching my channel, you're probably well aware of the ball method, where you develop a bunch of balls within the development tree, you sell them off, you get G points, and you also get a little bit of your capital back that you use to develop them. Well, what if I told you that there is an alternative method that is objectively another free-to-play friendly method where you could actually earn more GP and not lose out on some of the capital? What's up, everybody? Fortexfiend here, and welcome back again to another video on SD Gundam G Generation Eternal. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys this alternative method that you could consider when it comes to getting more G points to purchase the more important items in the G shop. Now, before I get started in showing you guys this method, I want to give a big shout out to my boy Sylph. He is a longtime member of my Discord community. He is also a fellow creator, so I'm going to be leaving the link to his channel in the video description as well as the pinned comments. Some of you might have already seen his videos, but he was the one that actually alerted me to this particular method. Now, Sylph is a whale when it comes to this game, but this method effectively is actually pretty free-to-play friendly. It just takes a little bit more TLC, and you also have to have been playing this game for quite some time now to consider this particular method, because I will tell you right now, it is an alternative. It is free-to-play friendly. However, I don't recommend, if you are a newer player, to gun for this method right away, because this is more so if you've already been established in this game, you've already cleared out a majority of the story campaign stages, and you have a lot of materials to spare, and you're looking what to do with them, or you're looking what to do with, the excessive amount of AP that you might have accumulated because you've been playing for a while. So if you're a newer player, probably don't want to try this method, but if you're more established, whether you're free to play, whether you're a whale, give this method a try, give it a consideration, because I think there's some uses for it. So again, we're going to go ahead and first take a look at the G shop, because this is going to be one of the topics that's related to this. So within the G shop, some of the more important things that as a free-to-play player especially you want to gun for is going to be those weapon upgrade parts UR. So these have become slightly more available with some of the events that we've seen recently, such as you could get them within the Master League Metal Shop, you can get them within the Map Metal Shop, but if you want to get them through the G points, you want to have a consistent way of being able to earn those G points. Now, some of the other cool things that you could get here, one of the ones that I want to stress is the SSR unit limit break. You can only purchase this once a month, but this is useful for those of you that are more light spenders or free to play. Let's say you pull an SSR unit from the Gacha, which is actually pretty good. For example, the S Gundam is a very popular, really strong SSR unit within the Gacha. You could actually use this as a dupe instead of having to hope to pull another copy of it. So this is going to be one of the more cool items that I would definitely recommend to try to gun for from the G shop. And then more recently, we did get access to the Phoenix Gundam. I made a separate video on that. And then also there's some free ships here you can earn, and also materials to limit break that supporter G-Quux and also the Phoenix Gundam, which is part of the shop. So okay, besides the ball method, which we're all very familiar with, what is this other way of earning G points more efficiently, or an alternative way of earning G points more efficiently? Well, we're gonna first go ahead and go into the upgrade. I'm going to filter based on S, R, R, and N. And I am also only going to pick development units. Now, when it comes to picking development units, it's also going to add the units that you can get from capture, because any units that generally you can capture do come from the development line. So these are the units that are going to be populating when you do that. Now, 9 out of 10 times, if you've been playing this game for a while, unless you want to get creative with your team party compositions or have a little bit more fun with units, you're generally not going to be building or using these units. There are a handful of SRs that are actually pretty good, that are free to play, that I've talked about before, such as SR Freedom Gundam, but more chances are not, you're probably not going to be using these. They're just here taking up space. They're just here because you either went into the character request and they're asking you to either develop something from a specific series or capture several units from another series. So what do you do with those? Now, I could easily just auto dismantle this, get some GP, and be done with it. But if I've been playing for a while, if I also want to be efficient with the excess amount of AP that I have, and I want something to do in the game while I'm waiting for content to come out, this is something that you could do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick Virgo here, right? So Virgo, right over here, free-to-play unit. You can get this from a capture, the development tree within the Gundam wing line. I'm going to go into upgrade for its weapons. Okay, right now it's at level 1, so I'm gonna increase its weapon level all the way to level 4. And the reason why I don't go beyond 4 is that point, it starts to get into the more like rarer materials, and those are a little bit harder to get. But generally, up until like level 3 or 4, the materials are a little bit easier to farm, and they come in regularly, especially if you go into the game and either like skip like a bunch of event stages or you skip like the hard stages. You can easily get those back, and you also get more materials on top of that. So you use your AP for that, and then you level it up. Now, why am I doing that? Okay, so if I go right back here, right, and I go to Dismantle, okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to filter by SR, R, and N, because generally those are the rarities that tend to drop from either captures. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this particular, unit right here, this Virgo, right? So as you can see, I get 3,000 capital and 50 because its weapon level is at 1. But if you compare it to the one that I just leveled up to 4, we get an additional 96 GP. So if you have a lot of these materials laying around, and again, objectively, this is a free-to-play method, and it's also a way where you could like continuously farm a bunch of things, get more capital, make good use of your AP if you consider this like a decent way of using your AP, and get a bit more GP compared to just auto-dismantling everything. Now, of course, you're not going to want to do this for every single one that you have, because if you've been playing for a while, you already probably have a ton of these units. But if you could do them for like a few of them, the GP starts to really add up, and then you're going to be able to find yourself, you know, getting closer and closer to getting the GP amount that you can use, for example, for the SSR, you know, materials, to get like a dupe, or for example, for that new Phoenix Gundam SSR that's for free, or even some of the other cool things there, such as the UR weapon materials. So this is one of the methods, the alternative methods that you could consider doing to get more GP, make good, decent use of your AP that you might have an excess overflow of, and also just all in all, be more efficient with your farming. Now, obviously, another thing to take into consideration is that if you have actual units you want to use and you haven't leveled up their weapon skills to the max, then you obviously want to prioritize those before jumping into this method. But if you have a lot of excess materials lying around, you know, you're free to play, you're a light spender, and you want to get more GP, and you want to see if you could like maximize the amount of GP you could get, this is an alternative way to do it. Instead of going into the development tree, having to click develop a bunch of times to get all those balls and sell them off. Because in the end, with this method, you won't be losing any capital. You're actually going to gain more because you're, you know, constantly farm skipping those stages daily, and then you're leveling up some of the weapon skills to 3 or 4 and selling them for more GP and things like that. But let me know what you guys think of this alternative method. I think it's a cool method. Like I said, I don't think it's for everybody. Some people might find this method very wasteful. I personally am in like the middle. I like it. I think it's an alternative. I prefer this personally over the ball method because the ball method just takes too long, and this one allows me to utilize those capture units that I'm never ever gonna use and just be efficient with getting more capital and also getting more G points. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you again for Sylph for alerting me to this method, because honestly, I never would have thought about this until he told me about it. So definitely big shout out to him. Check out his YouTube channel in the video description as well as the pinned comment. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and stay blessed, everybody.